There you go. Now, try to fill that thing with air. Blow really hard. Lots and lots of air. Come on, get violent and heavy with it.
How do you make it keep playing? Like,
just keep blowing. Really hard. Yeah, you've made the cats in here very angry.
Yeah.
What was that like, Rhett?
A lot harder than I would imagine. It's like it's air going in and out, so it comes right back out as fast as it goes in. Yeah.
You have to keep going.
Yeah.
And then you try to catch your breath. I feel like some of it comes back out, and then you have to blow again.
So, do you like stop the air from coming back out, or you don't have to?
There is a valve in here that keeps the air from coming out the blow stick.
Okay.
But while you're playing, once I'm playing, when I want to cut off, I've got about 2 seconds of squeezing with my arm to get the air out and have a nice clean.
Okay, that makes sense. So I could have kept squeezing a little bit, and I could have maybe kept going.
Yeah, the majority of the time when you're playing the bagpipes, the pressure for making the music is coming from your lungs and you're blowing. You're really only squeezing when you take a breath in.
Okay.
To alternate.
Gotcha.
And the hardest thing about bagpipes is to keep the sound steady. For instance, you can hear, as I vary the pressure, you can hear the pitch change. So you don't want that. So blowing steady is something that every bagpiper at every level works on.
Okay.
So it's all relative.
Hey, this is Rhett Harmon, Century 21 Novus, and I'm here with Bryce Delaney. We're at the pub, and we're going to learn about the bagpipes today.
As Rhett said, my name's Bryce Delaney. I've been playing the bagpipes for about 7 years or so. Bagpipes are a very, very difficult instrument to learn. A lot of people come up to me and say, hey, I'd love to learn to play the bagpipes. I had a gentleman just the other day. I said, I'd like to play a tune, learn to play the bagpipes to play a tune at my daughter's wedding. And I said, well, has she been born yet? Because it's on average about 4 to 5 years of learning before you're really ready to play in public. That's why we charge so much.
Okay, gotcha.
A little bit about the bagpipes. The pipes that I play are called the Great Highland Bagpipe. This is the typical Scottish instrument that us Americans are used to seeing. There are hundreds of different types of bagpipes from all over the world. There are the Spanish play the gaita. The Italians have one that instead of a bag like this, it's an entire goat with the goat head. They're amazing to see.
Glad we don't have that one today.
Yes. Yeah. I'm saving for one of those, but my wife won't let me get one. Like I said, these are the Great Highland Bagpipes from originating in the Scottish Highlands. After one of the Scottish rebellions, the bagpipes were actually outlawed. So a lot of the Scots will refer to these as outlaw pipes. The first instance, or recorded instance of bagpipes was actually from the Sumerians and the Hittites back in what we know as Iran and Iraq.
Okay.
Somewhere someone found a goat skin or a dead animal and decided to make a musical instrument out of it.
Wow.
And it just sort of grew from there.
Gotcha. So the bag is usually animal skin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The components of the bagpipes, there's obviously a bag and a bunch of pipes. The bag is usually from an animal hide, and it's an air reservoir. There's a blowpipe to fill the bag with air. There's a chanter, which is what makes the musical notes, and it's got its own reed in it. And then there are 3 drones. These two both play A, but they are in 1 octave, and then there's a bass drone which also plays A, in a lower octave. So there's 4 individual reeds in the bagpipe. It makes it very difficult to balance them and to tune them, but it's also what makes it sound like there's a whole bunch of bagpipes.
Right. Earlier you took that apart, so if you mind showing us kind of what that
Yes.
looks like?
This is the chanter that makes the melody with a reed on there. It's a 2-part reed, very similar to an oboe reed, but unique to the bagpipes.
Okay. And that can play by itself. You played it earlier. Put you on the spot here. Give me the hold it. Very cool.
The bagpipes are limited, very limited, in comparison to other instruments. First of all, the bagpipes, once you're playing, you don't turn the sound on and off. You play continuously. There are no quiet spots. Unfortunately, my neighbors keep asking for that. But the other thing that is, in comparison to other instruments, very limiting is there are only 9 notes on the bagpipes. So there are some tunes that we just can't play.
Okay.
People will come to me and say, "Hey, can you play the national anthem?" And I say, "No. There's that one part where it just doesn't sound right." We have, just over 1 octave to play with. And there's a lot of modern music that just doesn't really fold into the bagpipe scale.
It's like Candace was asking for Cardi B earlier. You just can't do that.
No Cardi B.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I said, the not having the ability to stop the sound really does have a huge effect on the type of music that the bagpipes do play.
Gotcha. So you have to fill the bag with air, and as you're playing, you're putting more air through it to make the sound come out with the notes and stuff. Is that correct?
Yes. There is a valve in here. A check valve, so that you're filling the bag with air and squeezing with your arm, but you can't take a breath.
Okay.
So it's not continuous blowing. One of the hardest things to do with the bagpipe is to actually physically play them. They're very, very difficult to play. When you're blowing up a balloon for a kid and you get one that won't start and your cheeks start to burn and you see stars. That's about the pressure that you play a bagpipe.
Okay.
So when people start out, if they can make a sound, it's really good. If they can play for 2 minutes, that's a pretty good start.
And you slowly lung capacity,
work your way up. It's lung capacity, but it's more pressure.
Okay.
Now there are little kids who are bagpipe phenoms who play beautifully, and so it's not just big guys. It's really just the ability to get that pressure up in your lungs.
Very cool. So for St. Patrick's Day, obviously we hear bagpipes a lot around St. Patrick's Day. How does that tie in together?
Well, it's kind of interesting. The bagpipes that we know as Americans are a Scottish instrument.
Right.
The Irish bagpipes are very different. They're much quieter. They have 3 octaves that they can play in, and they play a very different type of music. But we just as Americans have kind of
Merged the two together.
Taken the Great Highland bagpipes and adopted those for St. Patrick's Day, mostly from the pipe bands that play in parades.
Okay.
If you've ever seen the parades in Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, even LA, it's amazing when you get that many bagpipes together. There are piping hotspots throughout the country, and it has a lot to do where Scottish and Irish immigrants landed.
Okay.
So obviously New York, Philadelphia, Canada's very big. Atlanta actually has 4 or 5 bagpipe bands.
Really?
So
You play in a band as well, right?
Yes, I play in the John Moore McIntosh Pipes and Drums, available for hire.
We'll plug.
And
Put the link below just so you guys want to hire, you can.
we go to Highland games all over the East Coast and compete and play, as well as graduations and other events. If you love the bagpipes, go to the Highland games. They are so much fun. There's something called mass bands, where every piper and every drummer gets out on the field and plays together.
Oh wow!
And if you haven't heard 200 bagpipes marching onto a playing field, it truly is amazing. The ground just shakes.
I imagine you probably have some hearing loss from that.
What?
Yeah. That's really cool. Well, man, thank you so much for sharing about the bagpipes and some of the history behind
Thank you.
it. And you guys, they're all for hire. If you want to give them a call, the name of your band is again what?
John Moore McIntosh Pipes and Drums.
There you go. and they're for hire. You guys are based out of the Atlanta area, right?
Yes.
Perfect. And you do travel as well.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.